You know I love Christmas. We're doing multiple trees and I'm gonna show you how I do them. So when I say we, I mean you and me. You're coming along, you're into my home. I'm in my comfortable clothes because when we put a tree up, what do we like to be? We like to be cozy and comfy, maybe have some coffee, a Christmas movie going, music going, whatever it is so we can enjoy it. So this is my TV room, obviously. And this is a little bit smaller tree, but I kind of push myself on this one and do color. I'm not usually huge on color, but I do, but it still incorporates things I love and that are very unique to me loving. I like to always hide the base of my tree. It's what I do. I don't usually go for a tree skirt, but this is an antique just wash tub, a big galvanized wash tub. You can see the handles on the sides. And my stand and everything just fits perfectly down into it. So it hides it perfectly and it kind of lends to that more laid back, little bit rustic lifestyle. Kip and his toy. He brings me every toy he can think of, thinking this is the one, which usually it is, Kippy. So to start, I like to put my heavy garland always on a tree first. I think that way you can kind of first lay it in and not have to be pushing ornaments around, accidentally knock one off, and you can let it lay better and push it back in if you need to. So for this one, I'm starting with a little bit of a heavier garland, but it's very lightweight actually, just the look of it is heavy. It's these kind of yarn balls and they have the red in them, so it's pops of color, a little bit of gold, and it has just that Christmas spirit right away. And I often work in odd numbers, unless you fall in love with something, which I've done, and they only have like an even number, like 4, which I think this one actually does. So I'm gonna just place it in and kind of push it around where I want it. And then I'm gonna go alternating up the tree, kind of skip a level every so often so I can fit them all up the tree. And it kind of just gives that first layer and look that I'm going for. And then we'll move on to ornaments. That's the fun part. So I've spaced the garland out, and since I only had 4, and I wanted it to look evenly spaced throughout, the top one has the same length, and so since the tree tapers, I was able to take it around back and still fold it around the front, so it looks like I have more than I really do. This was, at one time, obviously a pre-lit tree, which I don't usually like to buy, because I hate when lights go out, and then what are you supposed to do? So I cut all the lights off and put on new lights, because I'm like, I'm not throwing that tree out. I liked it. So conserve, reuse. If a tree looks good, there is no reason to throw it out. Just cut those lights off, put new tree lights on. You can buy LED ones like these, and they don't go out as often. So next I always move on to the largest ornaments, because you really want to be able to work them in. That's honestly one of the #1 reasons I go with an artificial tree. You can manipulate it. It holds on to large ornaments, which I like to use without them breaking. So these are kind of odd, but I like to incorporate unique and odd things. So these are actually terrarium ornaments. You would put air plants in them or succulents. I one time found them really cheap and thought, how much more fun to use them as an ornament. So I put some fake snow in them, and I put little Putz houses in them. These I think are some reproduction ones, but I also have vintage ones, but I like to put them in and just make a little scene. It's just kind of a unique way to use something in a different light, and I just kind of love to do that. So with fake trees like this, I can bend a branch to make sure it's gonna hold that up, and then I can really push that one in to wherever I want those gaps to be due. And there was 2 sizes of them, so I had to buy them both. And for this one, I just put in little vintage bottle brush Christmas trees, and you can make almost like a little Christmas scene. So you could do different things with this. You could do different types of scenes if you wanted to. But I'm gonna put these big ones on first, space them out how I want them, and then we'll fill in with all the color and fun things. So I'm putting the last of my kind of more just glass sphere ornaments, kind of the more, you would think of them as just the normal Christmas ornaments, except they're kind of fun colors. This is kind of the fun, a little bit funky tree where I'm kind of pushing the Christmas limits. Yeah, you can do that around Christmas. That is how serious I take it. But it's also just kind of fun to try different things. So I think, you know, in a little bit more of a laid back room like this is, it's fun to do something a little bit different, maybe out of the ordinary for you. And that's what I'm always looking for in ornaments. I've mentioned other times that my feeling of always wanting to collect, whether it's an antique, also goes into things like Christmas ornaments, new ones like this. I like to collect them because I find them kind of just fun and inspiring to collect and add to and change over the years. So another big thing I put on here, I have an obsession with mushrooms. You guys know it. I don't know why. It's an old German tradition to have mushrooms at Christmas. And I love to find the fun, funky, unique ones. And these are big foam ones. I got these a couple years ago. And I am not one of those people that can go and try to change a tree all the time. No, a tree evolves all the time. But I always am going to use the elements I love, which for me are these big mushroom ornaments. So since they're big, even though they're lightweight, I'm going to put them on now so I can make sure to fit them in some of the big spaces I have before I put a lot of the smaller pieces on it. Because I want to make sure they have ample space they need. Because when you're putting a tree together, you never want it to feel like you are smashing something or like it has to prop up like that. That would never be good. You want it to be able to fall and sit correctly as it should, because that just makes it more comfortable on your eye. I know it sounds a little bit probably picky, but if it's comfortable on your eye, it's gonna be more fun to look at and it's just gonna be more appealing. So I'm gonna put all these on, make sure they sit correctly and don't hang crooked or anything, and then move on to some of the finishing pieces. So I've added a lot of elements to this tree. And as you can see, it's kind of a mix between funky, cartoony look, which is kind of like these mushrooms with a lot of bright colors, but then almost ones that would look somewhat real, somewhat, like you could find them in nature. I'm not gonna go foraging for a Christmas tree, you guys, but I wouldn't put it past me sometimes. So I'm finishing up with some of those smaller ones because I like the smaller things like this to be put more towards the outside of the branches, more towards the front of the tree, because they would get lost on the inside. So you want them to be mixed out kind of where you're gonna see them more. And it's just kind of fun, that play between these muted tones and then these more bright, fun colors. And it kind of mixes together in a surprising way. And as you notice, so something like this, I'm gonna notice that as I step away and kind of look and know that it's not hanging correctly. And you can put it more straight down. So that's why you don't want a branch to come and obstruct it from the bottom, but you want it to have enough room that it can hang correctly. Because I know how weird this sounds, but it just feels more comfortable and you're gonna feel better with it like that. So for some of the final pieces, I have a few more bright colored ornaments to put towards the front. And then even some of these vintage inspired kind of cars, which usually these would be more on maybe like a nostalgic tree. But I think there's something fun with the colors with these houses to kind of intermix them, since houses are very, a lifelike thing to have on a tree. I think that car kind of mixes with them well. So I'm gonna put those on, and then I'm also gonna put just on the tips out here, some vintage, I love all these, some vintage mushrooms that have little clips on them. So these are actual antique ones. I usually only put these in some of my upstairs, like bedroom trees, but I love to have them that you can just kind of clip on the edges, and then they kind of just sit there and pop up wherever you want them. It's really fun. So these are an antique find, which aren't easy to find. All my other ornaments, I love to just scour, fun different places that I love, whether it's local shops, which we have some fun local shops, or online, whatever you can find, and just kind of get a couple a year and kind of put them together. So I'm gonna finish putting those on and then put the final piece on top and one little extra snowy effect on it. So I put on all these other ornaments. I put mushrooms here on the ends, mushrooms everywhere. It's an obsession with me. What I think one thing a lot of people don't necessarily think about with a tree, especially with artificial trees like this, you can do this, is the depth perception you can kind of play with. So putting some of the bigger ones or some of the more colored ones pushed into the tree, so as you're looking, you get those different depths and layers. It really is a more interesting tree, but it also makes it feel like it's more put together. So yes, I get it. I can literally see the eye rolls of some of you, but it's those little touches that make a huge difference. So to finish this off, is this not fun? It makes it look like it's snowing. So it's kind of a different garland. No, I don't know where you can get it because I don't even know if it's available anymore. That's not the point of this. It's for inspiration. And I think you can find a lot of these types of fun things in fun stores this time of year. But I'm gonna stick it in the top and I'm gonna have a few of them. And I kind of like to just layer them throughout the tree and kind of make it just look like it's snow falling down. How is that not fun? This is what Christmas is so fun with, is you can play with odd things that when else are you gonna make this little scene in your house? You're not, except for Christmas. So it's fun to do it and put it up. And it's just fun that you guys can be in here doing it with me, you know? It's like I have all these friends over and we're just putting up a tree. That is fun. So I'm gonna put the rest of them on and we're gonna put the top on. That's it, that's fun. Just so you can really think I'm crazy, I found these. I think they're for the garden, they're resin, but what are they? They're mushrooms. And you know, if you're not gonna have gifts under the tree right away, or after the gifts are gone, it's kind of fun sometimes to have different elements. So sometimes I'll put pieces of, cut up tree trunk or birch branches underneath, just to kind of give it more of that rustic feel, like you would plop this out of the forest and just bring it in with the mushrooms growing on it. That's completely normal. But I like to just set them around it. So it's kind of fun. Guys, this is, okay, one takeaway. Break the rules. Do something that's not normal. If you love something, figure out how to put it on your tree or beside it. That's what I do. I love an overstuffed, oversized, just kind of like other life tree. And that's what this kind of is. And to finish it off, this was my find for this year to add to my collection. It's brand new, but it goes with the snowballs really well. So I felt like it had to be used. And so, okay, I don't know if you're like me. These are so hard just to stuff under the top of a tree. I think we should have a campaign against that. So instead what I do is with a faux tree, I will push branches into it to manipulate it and be able just to stay up, because I feel like that's so much better. So this together now makes it just look like it's this wonderful snowy tree that you would never find in real life, but maybe in an awesome movie out in a forest growing. Whatever it is, have fun with it. Break the rules that you think you have to do every year or make traditional or make look the same. Change it up, add a collection here and there, find ways to use what you love, and put a tree together. That is the fun part. So I hope this inspires you to go out, find something new, use something you have. I hope it inspires you just to have fun with it and enjoy it, because if we don't make Christmas fun and enjoyable, it just seems like work. So have some fun, share this video around, that helps me so much, and it just helps everyone see that these things are doable. I love to see your comments. Check out wiseguide.com for more tips, recipes, whatever it is. And until then, have some fun Christmas time. That's what we need. Let's put a movie on.